Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting. I'm Watty, and today I am joined by a very, very familiar face. Mark is back for a little chat. Mark, how was Portugal? Obviously, you just got back to Vienna, but you had a lovely month in Portugal there. How was it, mate?
Just what I needed. First experience away from cold weather as well at Christmas time. Always a bonus.
Nice. Yeah, because
Except
Vienna's
the last
fucking
week.
Baltic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's to be fair, I think it's been colder in England. We've had snow and you've had quite low temperatures.
Yeah, it's been freezing, mate. I stood out the front doing boxing and weights and stuff today. It's been brass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, Portugal,
absolutely
17
brass.
degrees.
Yeah, sign me up. I think some places in Portugal as well. My client Sergio came to Berlin with me last year. Um, I just had him today actually, and we were talking. He was like, he's looking at going out there next month, and he was like, it'll be 26. I'll be like, yeah, it'll be like 4 degrees here. Like, it's gonna be absolutely freezing. But it's nice to get a little break. What did you get up to? Obviously, last time you were out in Portugal, it was during footy season and stuff. You were hitting some footy games. What did you do this time?
Went to some football games.
Did you
Went
go
to
check
some
some footy
more.
out? Yeah.
Yeah, went to a couple of games. Went to Boavista and Rio Ave. And just relaxed, to be honest. Ate a lot of food, relaxed, but also trimmed down as well. Ate a lot of food, but it's healthy, so
Good
like some
food.
of the pastries.
Except from pastries, yeah.
I
You
love
lo- you
pastries.
love you love a fucking pastry though, don't you? Like
Oh
I
yeah,
can I can take it or leave it. Like I'm not that
really?
bothered. Yeah, I do like when we've been in Vienna and you got me like almond croissants and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be awesome. What um what else did you do while you're out there?
Walked a lot. Like I must have covered 20 to 30,000 steps a day.
Just daily, yeah.
Just constant. And anyone that's been to Porto will tell you like it's just like this everywhere.
Oh, just hills and fucking like a
Everyone's got
lot of tough
massive legs.
terrain.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's just got jacked wheels on them because they're just missioning around up and down hills. What what's your ice hockey involvement been like? Obviously, for the last 6 weeks, you've kind of been over there, so you don't imagine you've been paying that much attention, have you?
Dabbling in and out. I mean, like I took a break, so just from everything, and I kept a lookout on UK hockey. Not massive. Vienna are just dreadful this year. I always look out from all the local teams. Brno are in the middle, and Slovan are in the middle. It's also but in a moving in the right direction. But yeah, Vienna. I'm actually going to a couple of games. They've got a home doubleheader this weekend.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
going to go to that.
Who
My
they got this
first hockey
weekend?
games. Friday night they've got Innsbruck, and Saturday they actually got a game on Saturday, and that's
Nice.
against the Pioneers Vorarlberg.
Okay. So they really need to get a 4 point weekend if they're struggling right now. You've got to be getting that back-to-back home wins. I'm sure Innsbruck have something to say about that though.
Oh yeah, I mean for all three teams this weekend. Well, two games. Vienna need to win both of those because these are the teams that are below them, and everyone's going to be pushing right now for the playoffs to at least make the pre playoff like promotion. Like you don't qualify as like a pre-qualifier between a certain group of teams. So
Okay,
there's
did not
four
know that.
teams that go there. Yeah, there's four teams. So you've got like your the teams that just don't qualify, and then you've got four teams that are in like a their own series, and then
Almost like
you've
a
got the
preliminary
team.
round before the
That's
main
it.
playoffs kick starts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd
So
be nice
if
to
one
get a
of
bit of
those
hockey
teams
action
go
then.
on, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, regardless of how things are going. I think it's three teams that are all near enough the same level, so it should be competitive.
Yeah, that'd be decent. I'm in Cardiff this weekend for the Continental Cup final. Obviously, the Kazakh team couldn't make it due to um, visa issues, which is fucking annoying. So HC Arland, the Kazakhstani team, have withdrawn. It says on their website, consultations were undertaken. with potential replacement teams, it was determined that having a placeholder team in the tournament was not possible at this time. It now means the final will be three teams instead of four. The early games on Thursday and Sunday have been dropped. So it now looks like this Thursday, the 16th of January. Katowice are going to take on the Cardiff Devils. And then on Saturday, the 18th, which is one of the games I'll be at, Brûleur de Loups will take on JKS Katowice. And then on Sunday, it is the Devils versus the Loops. So shout out to Cardiff. This must be an absolute fucking logistical nightmare for them. It says they have over 4,000 orders to process before the event even starts. So please do not call the box office about your specific situation. They've put a whole bunch of solutions out there, whether you got passes or tickets for just one game or the early games and late games. So shout out to Cardiff for getting right on top of it. They've kind of been left in the lurch through no fault of their own. The good news is though, HC Ireland are probably the biggest competition in the Continental Cup for Cardiff. With two home games for the Devils, I would be, and the way they've played this year, I've seen the Devils probably 4 or 5 times this season. If the Cardiff
Nice.
Devils that I've seen play their best hockey turn up, they're gonna fucking dummy these teams.
Yeah, they
Dummy
should
them.
do, shouldn't they?
And then Katowice had the Daily IHL put a post out. Katowice have four players now uneligible to come due to visa issues as well. I I don't imagine Cardiff foreseen all the visa issues that other teams and players were going to have coming over here. But I was talking to my client Barry, you know Barry, talking to Barry today. That must have fucking this must be costing Cardiff a few quid, a good
Yeah,
few quid, because hosting a tournament like that is not going to come cheap. And also, you're expecting to make six gates as opposed to three. Instantly drops in half. And obviously, you're looking at if you're hosting, you're looking at recouping some of the money that you spent to go to the preliminary round in whoever, wherever, I can't remember where their prelim round was.
usually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in Slovakia. So they're probably going to be looking at recovering some costs from that to balance the books, and ultimately they've been screwed by a visa issue, which is it's really crap. I was really looking forward to
Yeah,
seeing the Kazakh team, to
big
be
time.
fair. Obviously, I'm down there for the, and the other thing is like for me, like so I'm down Saturday, Sunday. I've got a hotel for both nights. For four games, the hotel seems like a good price. For two games, it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though it doesn't change anything, going down and
Yeah,
going right, four games of hockey and the hotel's a couple of £100. Fine, it's cheaper than going to wherever.
yeah,
But all of a sudden, I'm looking at Berlin next month, 21st to the 23rd. Fly in Friday morning, fly out Sunday night. Berlin have Friday night game, and they also have a Saturday 1 p.m. game. So I'll get two games of hockey. Only need 2 nights in a hotel because the flights are friendly. And all of a sudden, actually, that's cheaper than my trip to Cardiff with
it's mad,
my
isn't it?
with my hotels and my train. I'm gonna get the train down to Cardiff. Actually, normally I would drive, but probably looking at about 80 quid each overall in fuel, maybe a little bit more, and then 15 quid a night in the car park, the Q car park down in the bay there. So like 110
Yeah.
quid for travel. Whereas I got in on the January sale action, and my train ticket to Cardiff and back was only 41 quid, which I thought actually,
Bargain. Yeah.
yeah, absolute bargain. So I jumped on that. But obviously that was before the Kazakh team pulled out. So it's a bit annoying, really, and the fact that the Kazakhs can play some hockey. I was looking forward to seeing what they brought to the table, and looking forward to seeing Cardiff get pushed in this tournament. I do believe that they should be. I pressed my headphones and switched them off for some. See if I can get them to go back. Might take a minute. There we go. Connected now. How's that, Mark? Have I got you
Yeah,
back?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, it's still coming through the fucking thing. That's so annoying. Well, eventually it'll switch back to my headphones and I'll get better audio. But yeah, it'd be nice to see Cardiff potentially pick up a European trophy I know I know they say it's only the Continental Cup and whatever. Still a European competition. They still represent the Elite League. They've been close on, I believe, 2022, 2024. So this is a good opportunity for them to pick up some silverware and some European silverware. It spreads the Devil's name and it spreads the Devil's brand across Europe. I know Pete Russell's going to be looking to get trophies under his belt. So obviously, Rich, you've helped me out with a great price on my life insurance. What are the reasons people do take out life insurance?
Generally speaking, mate, it's to cover a mortgage or family, loved ones. You don't necessarily have to have children to have it. The other thing is funeral costs. The average funeral in the UK at the moment is £8,000, and that's likely to increase over time, as everything does.
Yeah, a friend of mine's dad's funeral just cost him £14,000. Obviously, everyone's different. Everyone takes out life insurance. They have different situations. I have a pretty normal situation. What happens to those that are in less of a normal situation?
So we use all sorts of insurers. So there's normally someone that fits your needs, whether you're like a motorcyclist, whether you have health conditions, your smoking status, your BMI. They all affect how insurable you are. Obviously, we find you the best on the market, and for the older, there is the over 50s product, which doesn't have any medical underwriting.
We're creeping our way towards that right now. Obviously, I'm now a parent. How's are you? What about like critical illness cover for children, stuff like that? Do you offer anything like that?
Yeah, so obviously kids, I've got a couple. Peace of mind is very important. We do offer critical illness cover as a tack-on with most of our providers. For a small amount, they can be covered to 22 against any really serious illnesses.
I hope that Cardiff that I know that can play show up, and then yeah, we get another European trophy coming to the UK shores. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, anyone that knocks the competition, it's took a massive blow. And it doesn't help when Katowice have, what, 4 or 5 less players. You want to see
Yeah,
the
it
best
really
of the
doesn't.
best. It's not in Cardiff's hands. The situation's just, well, it's pretty crazy. I don't think we've ever had this kind of situation before where a team and players have had to pull out for reasons
No,
of visas. And I kind of adds more pressure on Cardiff to actually go and win it. If they
yeah, they
don't
got
win,
to.
it's going to look like quite bad because of the situation. They wouldn't want to be in this situation. They don't want it to be easy. They want to be playing the best. They don't want to be playing a team that doesn't have that doesn't have a full
A
roster. And
line of players not there.
yeah, and you've
That's what it
also
is.
got the Kazakh team, and I don't know, just it doesn't feel right this year.
I tell you what else
I want
has
them
been
to
going
win
on.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what else has been pretty cool. I'm actually staying in the same hotel as the teams, so it's the official Continental Cup hotel. And the hotel have actually been pretty good. They've said if I want a room and I want to be able to like interview any players or talk to any players, they can sort that out for me. So that would be good. I'm also going to be meeting up with Dr. Victoria Silverwood. We're going to go for a beer
Nice.
on a Saturday afternoon, which is pretty cool. I haven't put it on air yet, but I'm thinking I would like to maybe film 20 minutes of our chat because obviously myself and Dr. Victoria did an episode a few weeks back regarding Matt Petgrave. We've done other stuff. Um, I'm going to try and come back to the same point, but this kind of ties in here. I actually talked to Dr. Victoria yesterday and today. It's sad news that Rob Trumbley passed away, so rest in peace to Rob. Anybody that remembers, Rob from Newcastle River Kings, um, Edinburgh Capitals, Hull Thunder, Manchester Storm. He played everywhere. Not the biggest of guys, but he took on all comers. And just really, really sad news to wake up to this morning. I think Hockey Fight UK shared it last night around about 10 p.m., 11 p.m., whatever. I think I was already in bed, so I missed it. But I could hear my fucking phone vibrating. Do you know it's going off? And I was like, something must be happening, but I need to fucking sleep, man. I was just like, I'm gonna leave my phone alone. And then, yeah, woke up this morning. James Ayling had actually screenshotted it. James is one of the partners in the Enforcer movie. I had those boys on last week. Lots of great feedback
Yeah,
about that. If you haven't seen
good
it yet,
episode.
go watch the movie, then watch the episode. Great lads, them too. Like I had a lot of fun. Like we got even some throwback old school shit going on at the end of that episode. We got some story time going. We got some cousin Vinny going. We had it all going on in that episode. But also we talked about a lot of serious stuff, and we talked about CTE, and we talked about mental health. And I I got told today that it came out via Rob's family that they believe CTE, post-concussion syndrome, and mental health were all part of the reason for his death. That it fucking keeps happening, man. It keeps happening. We're seeing it more and more as that generation of guys like Rob, like Mike Ware, like Paxton. And by the way, this isn't me saying those guys have it. This is me saying like that generation of player.
Yeah.
We're gonna see more of it as they start creeping into their 50s, 60s. We're gonna see a deterioration in a lot of players. And obviously, it never got spoke about before because, well, we just didn't speak about it. We all just fucking, well, for one, we didn't know as much. And for two, you ask any of us, we probably wouldn't change it. We're probably still not going to stop chucking lucks. Probably still going to do it
No.
exactly the same way because that's just the way that a certain amount of us boys played the game. And it's the way we enjoyed to play the game. But the thing is now, there is more data and like it's not good. It really isn't
No.
good. It's sorry, mate. God.
No, it's like back then, like a fight and that, you might get broken nose, jaw, the worst case, or cheekbone, black
Yeah.
eyes, scratches, bruises, but we don't really think beyond that as such. A concussion, if you bang your head, but wake up the
Uh-huh.
next day, you're fine, banging a bit of a headache. But that was it. And now, yeah, like you say, with the research, the science, everything, and knowing the devastating effects that it does have on the mental health in the long run, especially.
Mate, mental health's been a big one. And it's been a big one for a lot of people that have played that kind of specific role, and also for a lot of guys that have kind of stepped away from the game, gone into retirement, been forced to go into retirement, whatever it may be, whatever the reason for retirement is. A lot of people struggle to deal with just not being a player anymore. It's a lot. Since you were fucking 5 or 6 until you're 35, 40, every day's been regimented, kind of army style. Like
Yeah.
you got
You eat
pre-game
this in the
train,
heat,
you got
yeah.
yeah, this is when you eat, this is when you practice, this is when you train, this is when you go to the gym, this is when you do video, this is when you ride the bus. You have to be here at the rink for this time, you have to wear this clothes, you have to be on the bus for this time. Like everything was pretty regimented in your routine. And then to go from that to you go 9 to 5, or you're a contractor or whatever you are in your new life. It's completely different. And it's a lot for a lot of people to take. And we've talked about like the demons that creep in alongside mental health and concussion injury issues and stuff like that. We talk about the anger, the confusion, but also about the addiction, the drink, the drugs, the women, the gambling, the fucking whatever your vice is. It'll find you. It'll find you and it'll grab you, and then you spend your life chasing that dopamine hit that ain't coming. And it's a sad state of affairs. Now, obviously, we don't know too much about Rob, how that's been or where it's going, or I just know for one thing that you won't be the fucking last. Um, obviously, last week we lost Derek DeCosti. He was only 56 or 57. So it's a bit of a shit tough year 2025 so far for the UK hockey family. Both of those boys were here for a good chunk of change. They weren't just like a cup of coffee guys. You know, Derek, best part 6, 7 seasons in the BNL days for the Flames, and then Rob 4 years in the Super League, and then 4 or 5, maybe 6 years in the BNL. You know, these guys are stalwarts of the UK game. They gave their all, and to lose them both just in their fifties is very sad. I obviously got no idea what happened to Derek. I don't know if he was sick or if he was ill or whatever, but having both those guys go down so early has just been a bit of a tough start to the year. And as Victoria says, she messaged me today. Let me not butcher this. Uh, 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 uh. She says. It's just so sad that a death like this is not even a surprise anymore. All the work to raise awareness feels like it's not changing anything. Although saying that the fact that the family have acknowledged the cause is a step forward, and so many don't because of the shame. So maybe something is changing gradually. And then she goes on to say, "I thought your openness in the part one of the Enforcer documentary, about the Enforcer film was really good. It's always good to hear directly from the players kind of how we were feeling and what we were going through. And it's very easy. I say it's very easy. It's easier for me to sit here now, so far removed from the game and not having to go out and compete, to be open and be honest. Were I still competing, would I have the same honesty? Probably not. You know, you're in that bubble,
You got
you're
to
in that
keep it
shell.
trapped, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gonna fucking let you know that I don't want to come up to Sheffield and fucking fight Pisey. I don't. I'm just gonna act like I want to fucking fight him. I'm gonna do everything, but it doesn't mean that that's real. And it's a lot easier for me now to not be playing, to sit in my armchair and be honest. But hopefully, more guys can now come forward. More guys can now talk about what they're going through. More outlets and more avenues are available for players to do so. And I've said before, any players that are watching along here, if you want to come on here and talk about it and have it in the public domain, then we'd be happy to have you. Like we really would. I think it especially like when you see these tough guys, they come on and they open it up and they bare their soul. A lot of people relate to them. And not only
Yeah.
that, if 2 or 3 of you do it, 4 or 5 of you do it, and then 10 of you do it. And then before we know it, we're starting to make some progress. Obviously, we've got like the Hockey Stick Together tribe that Nick Rothwell runs on Facebook. You'll find the link on our page. Any ex-players, please do join that group. There's some great resources and some valuable people within that group. And like, I've had messages from Kane Taylor. Kane obviously just stepped down from Hull, maybe 2 or 3 months prior to Christmas. And a lot of that was concussion issues, mental health issues. And, Kane messaged and said he really enjoyed the pod. And it was good to see some people talking about it. So it does make a difference. It is getting seen, it's getting heard, but we're at the very, very infancy of this, I feel. It is
I
only
think,
gonna get
mate,
worse before it gets better. Like we're gonna we're
yeah.
we're gonna get more Rob Trumbleys. We're gonna get more Andre Pyatt's. We're gonna get more of these guys because they weren't alone in what they did, and the impact of concussion issues, CTE issues, and anything like that is only going to rear its ugly head more in the next 10 years because of the ages of the guys that were doing it. But we can do our bit here. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. And some fucking real tough conversations are going to have to happen. But what we want is a place where players can feel that they're heard, their voices are heard, their stories are being told. And I actually talked to a client about it today. I was like, fucking try to get Rob on like, on and off about the last 5 years since we've had this podcast, and it didn't happen. And he made a very good point. He said, you know what? I think it's important that you get these conversations down. And without being morbid, I know Rob's got like I believe he's got like a 20-year-old son and two 17-year-old twin daughters or something like that. It'd be great for them to have been able to have 2.5 hours of their dad telling stories, man, just on a pod. You can switch that on whenever the fuck you want for the rest of your life. His dad coming on telling war stories and, shooting shit and being one of the boys again and that. And I said, yeah, I know Oliver listens to a couple of mine and Paisley's podcasts because he messaged me about it, and I'm like, you shouldn't be fucking listening yet. Like, but it is nice that they have that, and without wishing death upon anybody, myself included, I'm kind of glad Brody's got this. He's got 300 plus episodes of me talking bullshit on here. But if God forbid something was happening to me at an early age or something like that, you get a fucking pretty good chance to figure out who I was from this. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you would.
get you completely.
You get a real chance to get an understanding of what the person was like, and some of the demons they had and some of the battles they had, and whether that be battles on the ice or battles with himself or battles with addiction. And these are all things that hit everybody that played that role a little bit differently. Some guys have all of it. Some guys manage to go through and be absolutely fine. And hey, I hope that's the high percentage. But sadly, over the years, it's proven not to be the case. Like, the stats don't lie, the deaths don't lie, the fucking despair of going through what a lot of these guys have been through doesn't lie. And you can see some guys really struggling. In fact, in a different group today, um, it's called the Slough Jets boys, but like Chinny put in so sort of EXO Slough Jets and that. Chinny
Yeah,
put in about Rob saying another one gone too soon, and then Normski put, boys, make sure you take time out to say hello to your old pals. Yeah, man, like fucking
yeah,
nailed it.
spot on.
We
Yeah,
don't know. We don't know. None of us promised tomorrow, and there's a lot of guys going through a lot of shit. And I know some of the boys in that group are, and I've known from my time playing in UK hockey and being around the scene and around the leagues and around everywhere for long enough, and from doing this that people are willing to talk to me, they trust me, they open up to me, they know I'm not gonna fucking throw them under the bridge. And there's a lot of guys that have reached out to me since I've done this podcast. Big fucking tough mutants. They're scared, man, and they're worried, and they see signs creeping in of this and signs creeping in of that. And like I said, I think we'll see more of it, and we just got to try and get out ahead of it the best we can. I think if I was English ice hockey, the Elite League, Ice Hockey UK, I'd be putting some fucking protocols in place here. I'd be putting some protocols in place. I'd be hiring people that are specialists in these areas because I know hockey's fucking what have you done for me lately? But the game's built on bricks and mortar from the fucking bottom from day. So let's use Norm Pinnerton for example. Like if he's having trouble, there should be a number that guy can call. He played like fucking
yeah,
2,000 games. Like,
absolutely.
yeah, I know he might be done for fucking 15 years, but this might not happen until 25 years after your career's done. And
Yeah,
then it creeps in. And then fucking what? Yeah, what have you done for me lately, Johnny? Well, nothing. But actually, what I did was put those bricks and mortar down back in the day, and everybody that got to enjoy it and got to be there for the entertainment and got to be there for the good times. I think the league needs to have something in place where you're going to be there for the bad times for people as well. I I don't know how it would
100%.
work. Don't know how it would work, but if enough people had enough issues, a class action lawsuit will happen. And then the fucking wheels well and truly fall off. Because if you get a
I
class
can
action
only agree with
lawsuit,
that.
look at the one there's one going on right now against the UFC about them being a monopoly, and that's been going on for a few years, and about fighters' pay and fighters' conditions, etc., etc., etc. Now the UFC can afford to fucking swallow that because they're a 1.5 billion plus dollar company, They can swallow a 400 million fucking lawsuit. The EIHL couldn't swallow a $2 million lawsuit.
No.
Ice Hockey UK couldn't swallow a $2 million fucking lawsuit. It's finished. Finished. Done. Game over. So these things, it might sound like, fuck, I've got to pay someone 50 grand a year just in case. Yeah, well, 50 grand a year now could save you millions later. Like it really, really could. And it's mental health is something that's on the rise in the UK, worldwide. We're seeing it. I've said on here before, I don't think it was probably until like the last 18 months, 2 years of my career that I never even fucking really heard of mental health. It wasn't a thing. It certainly wasn't a thing in the locker room. Like guys could be going through the worst shit on the planet, but nobody was talking. Now I feel that we're in a situation and we're in an environment and we're in an era where you can talk about this sort of stuff. You can take a few days for mental health. You can do these type of things, and it will not be cast against you. I think if we can get some of these big names that are struggling to come out and speak about it, it'd be fascinating, but B, it'd be a fantastic step in the right direction. I get that it's raw, and I get that it's hard, and you don't probably want to come on here and admit that you're struggling, and admit that, sometimes just daily tasks are getting
And
the better
admitting
of
is
you.
part of the healing.
And yeah, I think if you can admit it, especially in a public domain like this, like it kind of holds I don't want to say holds you accountable, but holds you accountable to yourself that you're admitting it. And now other people know. And there ain't no fucking hiding then. There ain't no locking yourself away in rooms. There ain't no locking yourself away at the bottom of the bottle because guess what? People know all of a sudden they're gonna care. They're gonna ask. They're
Yeah.
gonna ask the question. You all right? Hey, Watty, how was you this week? You had a good week? Yeah, fucking what have you done? You had a positive day? You had whatever. Oh, you're feeling bad. Why are you feeling bad? What can we do? What can we do to fucking get you out? And I know like guys like David Heath commented on the enforcer thing. I know like Heathy, especially in the summer, I think he lives up like London way. They get like softball games going on a Sunday in Richmond Park. And it's not that so anyone can be the fucking next MLB champion. It's just so like if you and the old boys get together, drink some pops, fucking stick some burgers on a disposable barbecue, shoot some shit, tell some stories. But like more of that will happen if more guys are honest. Because I know personally, and obviously I'm never going to out them on here, but I know personally a lot of guys that struggled for a long time, and I hope to see a lot of these guys make full recoveries. Hopefully, it's not CTE. Hopefully, it's not post-concussion syndrome. I know you've suffered from concussions, Mark.
Yeah.
You suffer with your brain, i.e., like post-concussion, for a while. Like, I don't think people really realize how bad it can be.
Oh. And we just don't know when it's going to happen either. That's
Yeah.
the thing about it. It happens at like at any moment, and it's just it's really dark. It's just a dark, 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 dark place.
Did you watch The Enforcer yet?
We we saw it a while ago.
Yeah. Did you watch it back then when the thing went on?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I didn't. I didn't watch it until the day before I recorded with him, so I want it to be fresh in the mind.
Okay.
There's there's some scenes in there, like when he had those crippling headaches.
Yeah.
I can't fucking explain to you what that feels like. And
Yeah.
it rocks you to your feet, like from your head to your toes. It's like you've done a triple drop in amnesia and then led hugging a speaker all night. And then you go back outside and it's like your brain's still going. Boom, boom. And it's, yeah, it's fucking horrendous. And I thought the boys did very well in the movie portraying that. Because it's quite a difficult thing to portray and it's quite a difficult thing to explain. And without knowing, I've only ever suffered a couple of migraines in my life. and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But I know people that suffer from migraines where they're fucking in bed for 24 hours in a dark room, and like they
Yeah, horrendous
that
feeling.
that's part of what I would almost liken post-concussion syndrome to. Like I if I was suffering from any of that, I couldn't sit in front of this light ring right now.
No, it's horrible.
Not a chance. There is physically no way. It would feel like nails getting rammed into my eyeballs. It. I'm lucky enough that I'm probably 10 years, 8 years removed from any of that sort of stuff, any of that sort of, real bad pain. But I know some people that are not, and they do have issues with like post-concussion syndrome and that. You look how, and everyone talks about the NHL wrapping Sidney Crosby up when he got his concussion. No fucking shit. That's like $1 billion asset. And if his head is that bad, you do not put him into another fucking hockey game. Not
No.
with the possibility of getting that second, third concussion. And anybody that's had concussion will tell you it's not the first one, it's the second, it's the third, it's the fifth. And I know there's meant to be protocols in place now across the Elite League and the National League, especially. And I know Aaron Rose is doing bits, and Adam's Angels, and those guys are doing bits. There's going to be a seminar, which I've actually booked my ticket. I said to Aaron, "There's a concussion seminar." I was like, "I want to be a part of it.
Okay.
I want to be online for that." Tickets are only £10. The first lot, there's like 20 people. And I think the money goes straight into the pot, Adam's Angels pot, which is fucking great.
Yeah. Nice.
If they can roll a few of them out between now and the end of the year, that would be fantastic. I think Erin, excuse me, Erin said to me that she's gonna use some of the stuff from the Enforcer and from the episode I did last week in her seminar, which I think is pretty cool. That's just why these conversations are important. You don't know who's listening, you don't know who's watching, you don't know who it's going to help. It could help someone, it could help you, it could help a loved one, it could help a family member. And I think these situations, when you have post-concussion syndrome, CTE type symptoms, it's easy to forget about the people around you. But fuck, they go through it just as bad, man. Like, if your moods are swinging all over the place, if your anger's off the charts, if little things that never bothered you are suddenly triggering you into fits of rage, there's all these sort of things that we never used to take into consideration, but are actually not only hard for you, but they're going to be hard for your loved ones. And it's generally the people around you that suffer the most.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Bob from work, because Bob comes from work and suck a dick. No one gives a shit about Bob. But when it's the people that are around you 24/7, day in, day out, they're going to be the ones that bear the brunt of a lot of it. And, you know, if we can get these courses on and we can learn a little bit and everyone can educate himself a little bit more, and I mean, we're still learning about more and more about concussion. We're still learning more about post-concussion syndrome. We're still learning more about CTE. Like, CTE has gone from being a non-thing to being like pretty relevant in head injury and head trauma. Obviously, the issue we have is it's still not really fully diagnosable before death
Yeah.
and before like autopsies and about being crude, cutting the old head open and having a look what's left. But we have seen brain scans and there are images on Google. Just I think I've said it before. Type in a brain with CTE versus brain without it. And the decay of a brain with CTE, it is no wonder people are angry. It is no wonder people are depressed. It is no wonder people are lashing out. Look at the pictures and they don't lie. They really don't lie. Like the damage that can be done to a brain from CTE is catastrophic.
Yeah.
And I'm not sitting here pretending or claiming to be some sort of fucking expert. I can go on and research just the same as you. Um, But I would urge you to have a look and really have a look. And I think people feel the shame about being judged. And I think what Victoria said there, like people might not share that about their family or loved one that they had CTE due to this shame and embarrassment or whatever it may be. Bullshit. Bullshit. Let's fucking go. Like, I'm more than happy to put on here that I'll more than happily donate my brain to science. Like, absolutely. I mean, I'm dead anyway. What difference does it make? If people can research and study and learn off of head traumas, obviously, I've said on here before, I've had a mini stroke. What's it called? Fuck.
Honestly, I don't know the word.
I do. What is it? Can't even think. It's a three-letter abbreviation. Anyway, basically, it's like a baby stroke. And I've said on here before that they did my head scans and stuff like that, and there was what they call dark matter in the center of my brain. Now, it might be nothing, it might be something, it might be a bit of information, could be anything, but it very well could be the start of a CTE type thing. And if you look at those pictures on Google, you will see what it does. And the darkness around the middle of the brain and eating its way in and out. It's fucking major. Like major, major. It's a serious issue. And it's just sorry, I can just hear Brody screaming. Um, it's just one of those tough situations where hopefully conversations can happen. The right people can be in the right positions. So hopefully long term kind of have a bit of a support structure, have something in place where guys can reach out. There should be a number. Absolutely should be a hotline.
Yeah.
There should be, at the very least, an email address, you know?
Yeah. The least. At the very least.
At the very least, you know, someone can. I played in BNL from 98 to 2005. This is what's happening to me. This is what's happening to me now. This has been the last 15 years of my life. This has been the ups and the downs and whatever. I think that information would go a long way. And it should be no different if you then played in the Elite League from, 2003 to 2010, or you played in the EPL from 2008 to 2012, whatever it may be, whatever league. I think there should be some sort of resource in place where guys can reach out. And I know, like I said, Nick Rothwell's got the group on Facebook. That's one way, and that's a great way of doing it. But I think the powers that be need to get something in place here and get it in place before too long. Because it would go a long way to show your athletes that you give a fuck for a start. We've
Yeah.
seen we've seen the NCAA pretty much rule out concussions and pretend that they weren't fucking happening. We saw the NFL do the same. Gary Bettman has never once admitted to there being a fucking concussion issue in hockey because, well, he knows he opens up a can of worms, opens up lawsuits and everything else.
Exactly
But
that. Lawsuits, that's why.
just
Money.
because you don't admit it doesn't mean it's not fucking true. It is so true. And you know what? A lot of these guys, once they're done, they're good guys. They're good family guys. They just want to spend time with their family, watch their kids grow up. And that's going to cost you 50 grand a year to employ somebody. So fucking what? Pay it. Find the money. Find the money. Less than a grand a
It's
week.
there.
Less than a grand
Yeah.
a week during the season. Like it's so worth it. And it could help. And a lot of the things, people involved in the game then have kids that then get involved in the game. So whether you be, say, a director of a club or whatever, and then little Johnny starts playing, guess what? If you lot put all this shit in place now, by the time your kids are growing up and fucking playing and are getting hit hard enough to receive concussions and are playing at a fast enough, physical enough level where concussions could be an issue, guess what? By the time they're at that age, it's already in place. It's already been in place in 5 years, 10 years, however many years. We're at, like I said, we're at the infancy of this. We're at the bottom rung of the ladder. Let's get ahead of it before it runs away with it. And that's not me trying to scaremonger. That's not me trying to do anything other than state facts. We are deluded if we believe that Rob Trumbley is going to be the last fucking guy that goes from this. No
Sadly,
chance.
yeah.
Not a fucking chance.
Truth, you're just saying it how it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying how it is, and it would go a long way to show the athletes, show the supporters, show the fans, show the sponsors that hey, we care about our product because ultimately the players are your product. And I know they can come in and have a cup of coffee and then be gone, but that's not always the case. A lot of the time, the guys that come to the UK, they stay, and a lot of the times, if they leave, they come back. Like David Goodwin just signed for the Giants against this week. The guy's like a fucking boomerang. He just keep
Yeah.
it's like his ninth fucking re-signing for Belfast. Just keeps coming back. But that's what I mean. There is guys like that, who will just for whatever reason it is, they always end up back in the UK. And let's just protect our players. Let's protect the product. Let's not protect it by removing fighting from the game. Let's not protect it from removing good, hard, clean body checks in the game. Let's do it properly. Let's rule out hits to the head. Let's rule out elbows to the head. Let's rule out all the stuff that's going to cause major concussions. But let's also have protocols in place that have to be followed to the letter of the law in regards to concussions and how long time off they should be having and what the reintroduction back into playing is. Let's have avenues where players can go out and reach out to an anonymous source or whoever it is within Ice Hockey UK, EIH, SIH, whichever one, and be able to come out and say, I'm a current player and this is what I'm going through. I'm an ex-player and this is what I went through and this is what I'm going through. God, I'm an ex-official. I'm an ex-whoever. But that avenue's there for them. How much do you think that would improve things, Mark?
Oh, anything, honestly, anything that's done will improve the situation because not enough is done. So,
Yeah,
it's,
it's
well,
not.
I know it's a very simple and obvious answer, but honestly, anything would make a difference and a huge difference. And the more people that do speak out from all levels of play, all levels of standard and positions, whatever it might be, by more people speaking out, give confidence for many others.
I hope so, mate. I really hope so. Because I hope that people are going through these things, know they're not alone, and that there is actual help. Because whether it be that, whether it be injuries, whether it be you've seen guys have to retire for whatever reason, head, knee, ankle, fucking shoulders are blowing up. There is no current place that they can go to. We used to have the Players Association that is now defunct. There
Yeah,
isn't really anywhere directly for the players to turn.
and there should be an association still for this kind of thing. There really should.
Absolutely. I'm really surprised in the current climate that there isn't one. I know I looked into to setting one up and I know what a logistical nightmare it could be. And I just urge somebody maybe a little bit more financially secure than me that can maybe dedicate a little bit more time to it than I could. I would love to see it. Obviously, we would back you to the hilt on here, and I imagine anyone within the UK game would do the same. It's something that does need to happen. I think insurances and stuff need to be shored up a little bit. We need to start making sure that the guys are fully insured, properly insured for anything. Fucking laryngitis to death and anything
Protect
in
the
between
players
it.
properly, from
Yeah.
dental care to sickness.
Yeah, from physical health to mental health, from
Yeah,
teeth to toes, head to toe. Like, let's make sure these guys are not forced to come back a little bit sooner than they would like, or they're not. Don't get me wrong, we all do it. We're all hockey players. I got casted on Saturday and cut it off on Saturday night so I could play on Sunday. I get it. We're gonna make bad decisions on our own. But if good structures in place, good insurances are in place, the right people that you can reach out to are in place. These are all going to be massive issues that are really going to help this game, and we're really going to help the athletes. And the fact that we can get ahead of it now before it becomes a massive issue, because right now it's bad. We lost Derek and we lost Rob, right? Both young men, 57, 50. If in the next 4 weeks here, three, four more of that sort of era drop down, then you're like, fuck, what's going on here? Before the end of the year or before the end of 2 or 3 seasons, it becomes 20 guys. We saw it in the NHL. Boogie went down, Rips went down, Wade went down. There's other guys as well, but they're just like the three of the major names. They didn't happen all that fucking far away from each other.
No,
Like,
it didn't.
they really didn't happen all that far away from each other in terms of time. And it's fucking scary, actually. It is scary for a lot of people out there. And I'm sure ex-pros will be sitting watching this, listening to other podcasts, watching the Enforcer film. It'll be hitting home to them. And I don't care how tough you were. That is a scary proposition for a lot of people. Certain things that creeping into your lifestyle that perhaps weren't there before, and you're not really understanding, and you looking for answers. It would be great to be able to provide answers. Right, should we go on something a little bit more cheery?
Yeah, that's a strong one, but it's something that needed to be spoken of. So
Yeah, I
never
didn't
enough
actually
time
think we
for
were
that.
gonna. I didn't think we were gonna talk about it for that long, but I guess when it's something you're passionate about and kind of just rolls off the tongue. Um, since you've been gone, we've had a nice mixed National League. It's been topsy-turvy, but I gotta give a couple of individual shout outs because we always expect the usual faces. But Walker Summer, who Jamie McElroy signed, currently has 39 goals in 33 games. And I found the fact that he has five on the PP, two short-handed, meaning the guy scored 32 goals in regular play in 33 games. It's fucking outstanding. Nolan Gardner, again, he's on 36 goals, 10 on the PP, absolute tear up. Jake Brickell, every time you look at Swindon, this guy's ripping it up. 33 goals in 35 games. Sean Miller, all the imports seem to be doing a fantastic job of putting the puck in the net this year. 31 goals in 32 games. And then top scoring Brit in terms of putting the puck in the back of the net so far this year, Bobby Chamberlain, 30 tucks, 29 assists. He's almost got as many points as he has pims, which is good going for Bobby. And then you look again, Kieran Brown, 29 goals in 27 games. He's over a goal a game. Luke Ferraro, 25 goals. There's a lot of honourable mentions to players up and down the country. But just the whole way the goals have been spread around the league, the points, there's a hell of a lot of absolute studs this year. When we look at points, I think Owen Sobchak, charity game boy, 74
Yeah.
points, 34 games. He's running at 2 points, just over 2 points a game. I like a few guys running at that kind of 2 point a game mark, which is outstanding when you get to this stage of the season. And it's the usual suspects in terms of Brits at the top there. You got Bobby Chamberlain, Kieran Brown, Bailey Harewood's had a great season.
Yeah,
Um,
down in Bristol. Yeah.
yeah, I said before this season started, and I believe I said it probably as we heard that he was going there. I was like, Matt Bissonnette will rip it up in Leeds, and everyone that was writing him off would be like, fuck me, this guy's good. He's signed for
Yeah,
Leeds, and
he's a
everyone's
very
like,
good
fuck
player.
me, this guy's good. Yeah. And already, let's have a look at Biz's stats. Where
What
is
a
he?
hockey brain. 12
Oh, great.
plus 41 in
Yeah, 40,
33
40,
games.
41 apples. I said he'd have over 50 assists this year, and I think he's going to do it with like 15 games to spare.
Yeah.
Just an
What
absolute
a player, eh?
weapon. Yeah, great player. Jordan County, he's doing the business for Milton Keynes, 51 points since coming down from the Elite League. And then, other guys are kind of doing their bit as well up and down the country. I think a big year for TJ Anderson. He's on 42 points. A breakout year from Max Stewart. He's on 40 points in 32 games. Good to see him. Interesting guys like Harry Gulliver running in at a point a game. Oh, since you've been gone as well, last week we saw Vanya Antonov leave the Bees, signed for Swindon.
Yeah,
Great signing for Swindon at this stage of the season.
huge signing.
Absolutely sniped on his debut. Um, yeah, there's been some good hockey. The the battle for the playoffs is definitely heating up in that league. The Bees have shocked everybody and turned over Milton Keynes and Leeds in the last fortnight. It does kind of
A
go to
huge
show
result.
that anybody in that league can beat anybody. I think it's going to be a little bit too late for the Berkshire Bees. They're currently 11 points off the playoffs with around 20 games to spare to play. Sorry, I don't think they have enough bodies to really make a good run of it, but they're doing a good job in terms of making it interesting at the top because Milton Keynes 54 points, current league leaders, 35 games. Leeds Knights 51 points. They got 2 games on hand, so shall they win those 2 games? They will then sit top of the league. Swindon Wildcats making a great fucking run of it this year.
Yeah,
And I'm really intrigued to see how that addition of Vanya does on the run-in for those guys because other than the Leeds Knights who have only conceded 83 goals, Swindon second best defense in the league, only 95 goals conceded. Absolute tear for those guys recently. They've got a really good record. Swindon could be dark horses here. I know they set a couple of points back from Leeds and Milton Keynes, but ultimately, you know, Swindon have got to win a league title eventually.
yeah, but
Like they've
yeah.
got to win one eventually. They really do. And I don't know what the run-in looks like and how many times Milton Keynes have to play Leeds and how many times Swindon are in on that mix, but it will be interesting to see in what the next 4 or 5 weeks here, the next 10 games. So when we're going into the last 10 games, what we're really, really looking at. But you kind of got that top three, and then you've got a middle five. And that goes from Hull Seahawks, who are sitting on 42 points, to kind of Solway down in eighth place on 30 points. You know, 12 points separating fourth and eighth. Anything can happen in those positions. Sheffield Steel Dogs, they're in the middle of the pack. Peterborough got absolutely shit pumped by Bristol last week. They put a 10 spot on them, which, people are calling for Slava's head and it's time for him to go. As an ex-Peterborough guy, do you have any sort of opinion on whether you would like Slava to stay or not?
I like his model really. I like that he's always brought up juniors and he's not been afraid to cut them when it's the time instead of holding on to them and playing them for the sake of it. So he's brought in a lot and he's done a lot more good. And I think Phantoms need to look sort of in the sort of like over the long run. This is maybe the worst season. Well, is that
It's not been
the
the
worst
best, has
season? I
it?
don't even know if it's fair to say the worst. Just maybe not by Phantom standard because we've been so used to playing sort of top level. I mean,
Mm.
people might not agree with the style, but they've always competed and got into the playoffs and have challenged towards the top, even without the biggest budget in the league. So I just think that says a lot about his coaching more than anything. To go, I think people are maybe just wanting new furniture because it's been a long stint for hockey,
Yeah.
and
It's been at
I
least 10
kind
years,
of
right?
it must be close to
I think
that.
this is his 11th year, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, we had COVID and stuff in the middle of that, but since he first signed that contract, I'm pretty sure it was 11 years ago because I was still there. He came in the November of 2013, so yeah, it would be 11 years.
So okay,
The
there we go.
the interesting one that I look at here, As we talked about import netminders prior to the season, where they're going to be the difference makers. And if you look at the statistics, Max Wright with the Berkshire Bees, 29 games, he's faced 1,253 shots. He's conceded 116 goals for a 4.10 goals against. He's currently the top in terms of save percentage for the import netminders. He's rocking in at a 90.74. And then you've got Tommy Napier down with the Bristol Pitbulls, 29 games, 1,189 shots, 117 goals against for a 4.20 goals against average, and he's rocking in at 90.16 save percentage. And then Hayden Levine, Peterborough Phantoms, 33 games, 100, sorry, 1,220 saves, 121 goals against for a 3.83 goals against average and a 90.08 save percentage.
Wow.
None of those numbers are good enough for a fucking import goalie in that league. I'm sorry. I want to be seeing some 92 and a half, some 90, some 91 nines to 92 and a half, 93%. I know it's hard because of the teams they're on, but I don't want my import goalie having a 4.1 and 4.2 goals against average because guess what? If you're on one of those bottom teams, chances are you're not scoring 5 goals a game to win the fucking game. And that's why you stay down the bottom. The idea that these guys were going to come in and be the kind of saviors, it hasn't proven to be the case. And I think if we look at the import statistics in terms of like point production, goals, and stuff like that, there's British goalies out there that would have done roughly that 90 to
Yep.
91% save percentage, but all of a sudden you've got an extra 70 points out on the ice to pick from.
Off Adam Long.
Yeah, Adam Long, he's fucking sat with his thumb up his ass in Guildford. I think he dressed in the last game against Cardiff as backup. I think that was the first time he dressed in 6 weeks. By the way, Guildford have got two fantastic goalies, so I'm not saying Longer should just
Yeah.
be fucking. I'm not saying he should just be playing. I really like that
No,
Kutsky. I
no,
think
no.
he's
But
good.
someone
McAdam's
should
good,
come in at national level
but
when you've got an
yeah,
import wage and you could have longer. I don't know. Just my opinion.
like if you're a Bristol, like you sign Adam Long, and then you go out and get another Tanner Butler, the guy that they had there previously. I think he was on like fucking before he left. I think he had 60 odd
Bryce as
points.
well.
Yeah, maybe it was him. Sorry, that I was thinking of. But like, you get an extra one of them out there. All of a sudden, if
Playoff
your
race.
British go yeah, but if your British goalie is letting in 4.1, well, you're a damn sight more likely to score 5 goals with another fucking weapon out on the ice than you aren't. And it'll be interesting to see how the teams go next year. Do they look at it? Do some other teams? Because you're not talking about plugs, these goalies. They've all played at a standard.
Good levels. Yeah.
But AHL in there just goes to show it doesn't matter. Like if they don't have a defense in front of them, it doesn't matter how many fucking pucks they can stop.
Yeah. That's also plays a huge part too.
Like if you're facing the amount of rubber, like let's go into comparison to say,
That did you say Phantoms goalie Levine faced more shots than Bristol?
yeah, by like 30, but he has played four
Okay.
more games. He's played 4 more games, so realistically, out of all those teams, the Bees have given up the most shots against. Bristol have been the second, and then Peterborough. But if you look at someone like who we got here, Ethan James, British goalie, he's rocking in at 89.43. So he's, fractionally behind the three import goalies. But if you then look at the Romford forwards, well, they bring in Zachary Yokoyama as injury cover. I know he's since left and joined Bristol. Not Bristol, sorry, Solihull. But he was ripping it up as a spare import. Like, yeah, I'm a big believer. Give a British goalie a chance, and let's see some more imports out on the ice. I think it
Yeah,
brings the whole team up. It brings the training sessions up. It brings the practice a little bit harder, a bit more compete level. It gives you more depth across the lines. It gives you more depth on first and second power play units. It does really open the league up. I personally would like to see more British boys get given a crack next year. I know we're only looking at like kind of 25 to 30% of the league being import goalies. I think two out of the chances are two out of the three teams with import netminders don't make the playoffs next year. This year, sorry.
that's a crazy stat, isn't it? When you think what an import netting was traditionally bought in for, there's no Yanis Ozins example.
Like, yeah, do you know what I mean? That guy stood in his head every week. He was effective as both a netminder, but also like he could pass the puck, man. That guy, he could get quick breakouts started. He could get on man rushes started from the way he could handle the puck. There is these. There's always going to be a novelty. There's always going to be a guy that comes in and stands on his head and does it. And the thing is, if they're that good, the fuck are they coming to play in the National League for? Like, if they're as good as in my brain what I'm thinking, why are they coming to play in the National League? They wouldn't, unless there's maybe a school deal and, a cushy gig for the missus or whatever it may be. But they could probably get that in the Danish league or in Del 2 or Slovak 2. Or why can't we play second stand in UK hockey? There is generally a reason for that, and it is that you're not good enough to play at the higher level.
Yeah.
So give a fucking Brit a chance. Bring in another forward. Like, let me have a look at the Steel Dogs right now. The Steel Dogs three imports this year. Sheffield Steel Dogs. There we go.
1 second.
So I've got them here. So uh, Walker Summer, 33 games, 39 plus 30. Sam Tremblay, 34 games, 22 plus 33. That's guys getting the job done. You look at, I don't know, let's even look at like Solway, for example. Nolan Gardner sitting third in the league in scoring as it stands right now. And then you've obviously got John Dunbar. Let me have a look. So Nolan Gardner's fifth in the league in scoring, my apologies. And then John Dunbar, he's right behind him, 5 points back. So that's another import doing it. And then Oliver Arsenal from the back as a D man, 27 points in 34 games. So you're talking like imports being involved in a damn sight,
Oh
a
yeah,
shit ton
huge amount of
basically
points
of their
production.
goals.
Yeah,
It means they're involved in a lot of the team's goals. Romford, their imports are involved in a lot of their goals. Leeds, you got the boys up there, they're involved in a lot of the goals, as it should be. So, simple yes no question then, even now that we've talked about it a bit. Import goalies, yay or no?
no,
Same. And by the way, I was open to it at the start of the year, and I
yeah,
said I want to see,
agreed.
and I said I want to see a sample size. I've seen a sample size, and they're not fucking good enough. And ultimately, you're a Bees fan right now. You're going to come on here and tell me that we don't beat MK and we don't beat Leeds without Max Wright. You're fucking 100% right. You do not. But you might have had 700 quid elsewhere to spend on the budget and not be running with 12 players for a fucking game. And they're just numbers. I don't know what Max is on. I'm just giving you an example. But let's say he's on 700 quid a week as a starting import netminder in that league. You could have got £400 British goalie, a £200 British forward, and a £100 British D-man. Doesn't sound like much, but when you're running fucking 13 bodies, those extra two
You
bodies will
need to
come
freshen
in.
up those legs. Yeah,
Yeah. Shout out to Ralphs. He's gone in and done a great job with the B so far. He's been getting points. He's been doing great. I think he's a great addition to them. I think picking up Jacob Ransom again is another good addition for them. But, you know, to have the league be consistent and to have teams be competing every week, you have to be ready to go from September.
Yeah.
Like the league's too good now. You can't start the league fucking November, December. You're too late by then. The ship sailed. The fat lady's singing. Who do you think misses out? Did Telford miss out? Does Solway get dragged back into that fucking mix?
I hope not. I'd love to see Solway make it. It's a tough one because Tigers always grind the results at the right moments every year.
Well, they
So,
they brought in again. We talk about teams bringing in guys late, and they brought in a couple of players. And forgive me, I need to name check it. Here we go. Telford Tigers. They had a fucking horrific start to the season, and
yeah,
then they bring in a couple of good imports who get the job done, and they put the puck in the net, and all of a sudden they start getting results, and you need that right from. You can't make mistakes when you're only signing three imports. You can't make mistakes in the summer. Your scouting's got to be bulletproof. Your knowledge has got to be bulletproof, and that's why I think Solway did a smart thing. They could have went out and yard saled and brought in three different imports, but they didn't. They were like that Nolan Gardner guy nearly scored 50 tucks last year.
yeah,
He'll
solid.
get bring him back, and they sit in second or third in goals in the league. Sometimes it's better the devil you know, and you know a guy that can turn. LL Speck, you know the guy who's going to turn up and put the puck in the net. He might do fuck all else for 60 minutes, but then you look at the end of the game and you go, oh, he got 2+2. I see fans on the like slagging him. I'm like, yeah, but he does it. Like he goes on and does it, and
Finds a way.
you know what you're getting. Alex Padlek, years he stuck around here. You know what you were getting. Would I like to see new blood? Fuck, of course I would, because I'm a fan now. I like to see new guys and new players. But sometimes it is better the devil you know. You sign a guy like Nolan Gardner, he comes in, and you know, like I'm sure the Sharks know if they sign him now for next year, he's good for 40.
Yeah,
Okay, so when you're doing your recruiting, if you can't guarantee the guys that you're fucking scrolling through on elite prospects and the players you're talking to, if you can't guarantee that they're going to score 40 goals, they're not going to get. Why would you sign them? Whereas, you sign Bizanet is a perfect example. You know the guy is going to set up 50 to 60 goals. And if you consider that you might score 180, 200 goals across the entirety of the season, so pretty much every third goal, the guy's going to be involved in. He's going to have a
yeah,
part to play in a third of your goals. So you then, when you go to the recruitment, you go, is this guy I'm going to be bringing in? Is he going to be able to fucking carry the workload? Is he going to be able to chip in on every three goals that this club scores? Because if he can't, then he can't be here. And this is why I think the National's going to continue to get better. And I'm going to get a taste of it next month. We got Romford taking on Leeds in
nice in
the
the
in the
cup.
NIHL Cup. It's 18th and 19th. First leg being Romford, second leg being away in Leeds. I'm going to get down to the Romford game. Next weekend, I'm going to take in a couple of National League games. I've got Leeds versus Phantoms up in Leeds. First trip to the castle, so it'd be interesting to see that. And then I'm going to go across to Sheffield the next day, see our boy Mac, and watch the Steel Dogs take on Swindon Wildcats.
Nice.
So, going to get to see some good hockey teams over the next few days. So Cardiff this weekend, and then Leeds and Sheffield next weekend, Berlin next month, the Cup next month, and then we're rolling into playoff time. We're into that March playoff battle. Anything can happen. I'm intrigued. What about the Elite League? Obviously, Devils are sitting top. Giants
Yeah,
are creeping in. Still, the Steelers are fucking capitulated, although they seem to have turned a corner the last couple of weeks here. Back-to-back
they're on a
shutouts
good
at the
run
week.
now. Yeah,
Yeah, back-to-back shutouts at the weekend there. I think from the teams that I've seen this year, Cardiff are probably the best team, as anyone will tell you in this game. at this stage of the season, it's going to come down to who can keep the boys freshest the longest, who can
Yeah.
go without picking up injuries. All of these things are going to be a key factor. I think Belfast have made some good additions recently. I think Sheffield, surely they can't go on another bad run the way they have. They need to kind of bounce back and a couple of wins at the weekend. Coventry, Fife. It's going to hopefully start them on a good stead. I watched their game on Boxing Day against the Panthers. I've watched another one since. They just didn't seem to have that spark that they had in the Champions League. I don't know if it's a bit of a Euro hockey hangover or what it was, but it just it wasn't happening for them for whatever reason. Panthers, much better season from the Panthers this year.
Yes.
Obviously,
Danny Stewart's done a great job.
he's done a great job so far. 35 points. They're 3 points back of third place, and they're winning more games than they're losing. The Coventry, Blaze, Guildford, Cardiff, Nottingham, Coventry, Guildford kind of battle there for fourth spot is going to be really interesting in the run in. I think the other interesting one is the teams below them. You got the Clan on 26 points in 28 games, the Stars 31 games, 24 points, and then the Storm 27 games, 21 points. Who is the team to make the last spot? I think Five Flyers have been a fucking disgrace. They've been a fucking disgrace to the Elite League.
Yeah. It's
And it pains me to say it because I wish they were better than they are. But 3 wins at this stage of the season is just shocking. The amount of bodies that have come in and out of there has been shocking. It's just been poor. It's been really poor, and I feel they're letting the league down. Obviously, not
That's a
everyone can win
start on
every
it.
night, right? Well, not obviously
Yeah.
not everyone can win every night. I get it.
No.
And there are going
It's
to
a
be
very
lower budget
competitive league.
teams. There are going to be lower budget teams that struggle to win games, but they're getting blown out every week. I think they've won 2 games at home and 1 game on the road all year. Why are your fans going to keep turning up? Like, why are they going to keep putting their hand in their pocket? It's they haven't really signed anyone of note to come in replace the Kazakh boys that left. And again,
They should have started with a solid British core at the very least. Use Brits, make a solid core because through the long run of the season with injuries and stuff like that, you've got more of a basis of a team. And I don't think that they allowed that. I thought Tom was the right guy. I thought he made right changes. He found a few British guys that went on to do quite good. Brody Kay being one of those guys that went
yeah,
in
like Brody.
has like sort of excelled as the season's gone on. And I don't even know if he's iced
Well, our
since
boy,
Tom. Odell.
Owen Dell, our boy Owen
Yeah,
got his game, and this is the good thing about like when you get a scenario like that, and the bodies are short, you're gonna see some random ass names popping up, and if it's kids like Owen Dell, great attitude, real nice lad.
yeah,
Love to see him getting his chance. He also obviously he signed up for Leeds in the NIHL One North because he's up there at school, but he's had a couple of games with the Knights, which I like, and I think given the opportunity, he can more than hold his own at national level. We've seen it before. He's got the talent, he's got the attitude. He's just generally a good kid. But
yeah.
yeah, the Elite League for me at this stage, if I had to pick, and by the way, this is without knowing the run-ins. I'm sure if I sat and looked at the run-ins and started looking at the numbers, I might have different opinions. But as it stands right now, I'm gonna go with Cardiff, and I'm gonna go with Swindon. Don't know why. Just got that eerie feeling for Swindon right now, and they they've got a lot of guys that have been around a lot of miles, and they've been in these situations. MK stacked,
Yeah.
stacked, but for whatever reason, when push comes to shove over the prior couple of seasons here. just seem to fall at that last hurdle. I mean, Leeds can quite easily go shove it up my hoop and not lose games between now and the end of the year. Like they have the ability and they have the players in that roster to go and do that. But those three teams going to be interesting running, much the same as the Devils, the Giants, and the Steelers. Going to be interesting running amongst those guys. I think the big ones are going to be at the bottom there, and I fancy Solway to get in. And Manchester, they sacked their coach. Their assistant coach is now running things. Spoke to Sully a little bit this week. He says, like the kind of culture and everything. Not that's not his words, but mine. It seems a little bit better with the guy they got in now. Manchester's a shit place to go play. So if they could just find a way, don't be surprised to see Manchester make a little late dash for that spot. They've got some games in hand on Dundee. Will it be enough? Who knows? But these are the interesting things at this stage of the season. Again, ask me this in a month and I might have come completely different opinion. But there's some good hockey left to be played. Obviously, sorry we haven't touched on any leagues down below or anything like that. This was a kind of a bit of a sporadic pod. And the main reason we wanted to come on was the mental health and the concussion side of things. Keep it relevant with the fact that we've had James and Frankie on last week, then with the
Yeah.
news of Rob, and we just wanted to keep it relevant. But ladies and gents, if you're new here, please do hit that subscribe button. I believe like 80% of the people that watch these videos aren't currently subscribed, so that would go a long way. Make sure you subscribe. Come follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the usual places. And we will see you for another episode very, very soon. Mark, it was good to have you back, mate. Ladies and
Yeah.
gents,
Cheers, mate.
peace.